Does coming out make any sense at all? Or is it, as with so many other things, just a ridiculous emotional response to our modern entitlement-happy society? Let's take a look at this from a secular conservative perspective, coming up next. This is something that really has never made any sense to me at all, and I see it all the time. Atheists who are desperate to sit their parents down and tell them that they don't believe in gods, or that they want to sit all their friends down and tell them that they're gay, or bi, or trans, or whatever. It's all about making an official announcement to people so that you get some kind of validation, or, in the worst cases, closure that this person won't accept you for who you are. And my question is, why? What purpose does any of it serve? Because honestly, I can't see one. Now, a lot of this depends on what age you are, and I see this going on all the time over on the Reddit atheist subreddit. Young kids who just don't want to be forced to go to church, wanting to tell their parents that they're atheists, so their parents won't make them be Christians. And this is rarely a good idea, because things rarely go the way that they want. It's why the official position on the subreddit is that you don't tell anyone until you are a financially independent adult living on your own. After that, it doesn't matter. Nobody can hurt you. Nobody can throw you out of the house. Nobody can stop funding your education. If you want to sit people down and tell them, it really doesn't matter because there's nothing they can do to you. But that's not what a lot of people want to hear. They want to think that they have a right to believe or not believe anything they want, and they want to be paraded around as a free thinker because they disagree with the dominant cultural religious delusion. And sorry, whether you like it or not, it doesn't work that way. See, the fact is, until you are an adult living on your own without having any financial reliance on your parents, they have a right to tell you what you can and can't do. They might not be able to force you to do things, but they can sure hold it over your head, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. If you live with them and you're over 18, they can throw you out into the street. They don't have to worry if you can afford to live on your own. They can stop paying for your college. They can stop paying for your car. They can make your life a living nightmare. Is it fair? No, of course not. But this is reality, and I think that's a lesson that people really need to learn these days, especially in the modern entitlement-happy world. Nobody actually owes you a damn thing. Just because you hope that your parents or your other family members or your friends would support you, the simple reality is they don't have to. And that's something that people need to come to grips with. Wishing for something and actually having it happen, they're often two entirely different things. It might not be fair, but who said the world was fair? Where the hell did you get that asinine idea? In fact, I think the earlier you figure this stuff out, the better. Nobody owes you a thing. Nobody has to support you. Nobody has to like you. Nobody has to accept you for who or what you are or what you want. It just doesn't work that way. Sure, it would be nice if it did, but that's not a guarantee. Religion, especially religion, but religion, whether anyone likes it or not, is one of the greatest mind poisons that we have, and it takes otherwise decent human beings and it turns them into immoral monsters. The more religious you are, the less accepting you tend to be. And let's be honest, it's not just religion. It's almost any strong ideology that takes over someone's mind irrationally. The more you believe, especially if that belief is not rational, the less they accept things outside of their little pocket platform. So, it's really kind of silly to sit down dear old mom and dad and tell them that you're gay if they're fundamentalist Christians or hardline Muslims. Not only is it likely to not go very well, but you're really opening yourself up to a lot of potentially harsh penalties, and depending on where you live, perhaps even death. You can't just come out as an open atheist in some Muslim countries ever. Not ever. You can never admit to not believing in Islam on pain of death. That's just the culture that you happen to live in. You don't have to like it, but you have to deal with the reality that you live in. It's why I think all of those atheist podcasters and bloggers that get killed in heavily Islamic countries, I think those people are idiots. They know the consequences, yet they do it anyhow. I really don't feel that sorry for them. Should it happen? No, of course not. But you can't pretend that reality changes because things shouldn't happen. It doesn't work that way. It's one thing if you're being civilly disobedient, but far too many people today have forgotten the core of civil disobedience. It's getting punished. It's doing something that you know is not acceptable and getting punished for doing it as a means of bringing attention to the thing that is not acceptable. You can't just sit there and whine, "Well, I don't like that." You're being a moron. Knock it off. It's why, as a child or other dependent individual, you have to just shut up and play along. If they want you to go to church, you go to church. If they want you to pray, you pretend to pray. If they want you to read the Bible or fast for Ramadan, then you do. You have to. It doesn't matter how much you hate it, you just have to play along for your own safety and security. And then you work hard to get yourself out of that situation so that you don't have to lie anymore. You make sacrifices to make your own life better. Sometimes that's just moving out. Sometimes it means getting out of the country entirely. And it doesn't matter how much you hate it. You have to do what's best for yourself, and to be honest, opening your mouth about how much you hate God isn't doing that. You're just being an idiot. The fact is, it really doesn't make any sense to just sit people down and have this big presentation that you are something. Who cares? Just be you. So long as you can do it safely, stop caring what other people think and just be who you are. Act like an atheist, whatever that means. Be gay. You do you. If people notice and they ask, be honest. Don't make a big deal out of it. You are who you are. You don't need to impress anyone else, and you don't need their validation. They don't have to like it. If they decide to walk away from you, that's their problem, not yours. They make that choice, you don't. They decide that something is more important than you are. You can't stop them, and you can't make them change their minds. Let them go. Because that's another important lesson that all people need to learn, but unfortunately, very few do these days. You are not in charge. I don't understand how so many people don't get that. They think that they get to make all of the rules, and if things don't go just the way they want, they kick and scream and cry and throw a temper tantrum. Too bad. People, whether you like it or not, they don't have to like you. Even family members don't have to like you. There's an old saying that says, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. Well, they can pick you too, or not. And while you can't change your genetics to be related to someone by blood, that doesn't mean you have to get along. It doesn't matter how much you want to. That doesn't mean that you will. So if someone decides that because of something that you are, that they don't want to be around you any longer, well, that's up to them. You have to accept it. You have to be true to yourself, and so do they. That's why coming out is ultimately an emotional act. It's not an intellectual one. It's seeking validation, not reality. You want everyone to tell you how brave and wise you are for doing whatever it is that you're doing, and it doesn't always work out that way. And that's life. It's why this whole entitled coming out culture is so idiotic. Just be you. Stop caring what anyone thinks of you. You can always make more friends if the ones that you have hate you because you're whatever you are. They aren't worthwhile friends to begin with. Why would you want them around? If they were worthwhile, they would have cared about you. Instead, they care about someone that you're not. And unfortunately, the same goes for your family. If they can't deal with it, screw them. Surround yourself with people who can accept you as you are. There's 7 billion people out there. You have to be able to find some that like you for you. And if you can't, move. Do whatever it takes because it's within your control. I really find no value in coming out to anyone. When I stopped being a Christian, I didn't sit everyone I knew down and announce that I was an atheist. I just stopped going to church. I stopped praying. I stopped acting like a Christian. Some people asked, and I told them, and they reacted however they chose to react. A lot of people didn't. They just accepted the new paradigm. Did I lose friends? Absolutely. They weren't worth being around anyhow. I just made new friends. I found new people to be around. I didn't care if they liked me or not because if they don't, I have no power to make them like me. I am not going to pretend to be something that I'm not, and neither should you, at least if it's safe to do so. Never put yourself in danger, but never compromise your freedom either if you can help it. Stop being emotional and, seriously, grow the hell up. Everyone needs to, and far too many, they just don't these days. You've only got one life, and you have to make the best of it, and spending all of your time worrying about who likes you and who doesn't is a complete waste of time. The right people will. You just have to find those people. It's not necessarily the people who were there when you were born. So, what do you think? Is it a waste of time to come out to anyone about anything? Or should you just be who you are and let people figure it out for themselves? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe and, if you want to, hit that stupid little bell too. Tell others about my videos so that the channel will continue to grow, and, if you can, head on over to Patreon and help support the channel. All of the links for everything are at the end of the video and in the description below. So, until next time, stay rational and stay safe. If we'd all do that, the world would be a much, much better place.